Hey everybody, today we're going to go over the BH20 D-2. It's been a while since we've done videos. We wanted to kind of update everybody on what we got going on, what's new in the world. We apologize for the delay. There was a few things in the family that we had to take care of, and the office and everybody did a great job pitching in and taking care of everybody. This is the BH20 D-2. They are going to come standard with the 2-speed, the expandable track, and everything else that we do, the thumb, the diverters, and so forth. This one is a little bit different. It's got side swing on your joystick, and then it's got the expandable track on the joystick, so you don't got to flip any buttons or anything. Everything's at your fingertips. And when the retractable tracks are in, it goes in 39 inches. When they're out, it goes to 45. It's also going to use a 9-inch track, so a 230 wide track by 43. So you're going to get more length, obviously more width, which gives you less ground pressure. So those of you that need a little bit larger machine, this is a 3,200-pound unit. It's got 10 foot, I think 10 foot 6 on the max reach. It's obviously got the cylinder on the top, so you get a little bit more digging depth. You get not quite 8 feet. It's like 7.6, 7.5 on your digging depth. You are going to get 9 foot of digging height. So it's a good all-around unit for that mid-sized, 3,200-pound machine, ton and a half. You're going to be in a Kubota D722. You're going to have your flip-up console so you can get in easier. And then your auxiliaries and your blade will be on your foot pedals. We're going to do this in a couple takes. That way we can do some close-up videos. We're going to do some pulling and pushing like we normally do. And we're going to break this up so that you guys can see the machines up close. I think they got a really nice layout. They're using a variable piston pump. So it's actually, I don't lie to any of you guys, and I like you guys to have all the information. If you want to talk about confusing numbers, use Kubota. They got Kubota, D722, EFO2, EFO3, EFO9, EFO9B. So what all that does is it changes, fuel and size. The size of the block, I think, stays the same in all of them. They're just changing some of the combinations. So it's a little bit smaller D722, but that's being balanced by a variable piston pump. So a variable piston pump, I guess in simpler terms, kind of does it in a gear reduction of its own. So instead of having a gear pump that simply makes pressure, the variable piston pump is kind of acting like a reducer of a sort, and it's a smoother operation when you're engaging your hydraulics. So this machine, even in 2-speed, is going to do most of your turning and stuff when you're traveling. And if you've never used a smaller Kubota or Bobcat, a lot of those, if you go to any of our own models, in a gear pump, if it's not making the correct pressure inside the main valve, you can't use 2-speed to turn, you can't use 2-speed. Even if you're on a surface that the tracks really dig in with new tracks, you can't use 2-speed in that. Even in a big Bobcat, there's times where you're going to put it in single speed, which you should do anyway if you're pushing and going up heavy inclines. But this unit will actually, rotate and do all of its travel and everything in 2-speed without losing RPM, and that's being done by that pump. So again, a little bit different setup, a little bit more advanced setup, so variable piston pump instead of a gear pump. You don't got to worry about a single stack or a dual stack or a triple stack. The machine is fully ran by that variable piston pump. The rest of the video, we're going to get up closer here. I'm going to show you guys some of the layout of it. Other than the layout itself, it's just got a nice design feature as far as the aesthetics. And again, it's a unit that's going to come equipped with the 2-speed expandable track. We have so many models now. There's always a unit that will fit your need, no matter what your need is. And a lot of the other units, we can option them. However, this is one that we just wanted to make it simple. If someone calls and they're going to have those options, they can just jump into this one. They got the largest in the 20 series. There's none other than this one that have that kind of weight, length, reach, depth, and so on. This is going to be the biggest in the 20 series. And once we start 25, we're probably going to, if we add more models, which there's not a lot more we want to add, there's only a 10,000-pound unit, about a 9,000-pound unit that we want to add, and then maybe one more at 7,000-pound or 7,500-pound. Most of our small units we're pretty satisfied with. We're going to go over a few of the 25s, and then we're going to do the 36s and some of our LTs. So we've got a lot of information coming out today. Again, I know we've been out for a little while. We really appreciate those of you that stuck with us, and I know that some of the communication at times wasn't great. We'll get into that on another video, but if you guys want, stick around. We're going to go through the inside of it, and then I'll do a quick test drive and show you guys it running and operating. We'll catch you guys in a minute. All right, so now we're just going to give you the quick rundown of it. Again, I love the decal layout of it. Our marketing guy, his name is Clint. He did a very nice job doing our decal layout. As far as the engine and the accessibility, you can still access everything nice and essentially nice because the side panel comes off. So from the rear, it's tight. You're almost at a zero tail swing with the tracks out. It is a zero tail swing, I think, within an inch or two. So it's a little bit tighter on the platform to get in from the back because of this cross support, which mounts all of your fuel separator, fuel filter, and your regulator. Other than this support, like I said, your side panels come right off. And then right inside there is your variable piston pump, which now you can get in there and actually access your pump and access your battery. And you got your housing, and like I said, everything is nicely laid out. You got this panel here, which covers your fuel tank, and then your battery you can actually get to without, shoehorning it in there. So access, it's definitely got, I mean, for a zero tail swing unit, again, keeping that in mind, zero tail swings are always tight compared to a true rear engine. So for a zero tail swing unit, it's got a nice layout. Again, I love the decal package they made for these things. The thumb, probably the only thing that, it's not the ultra wide thumb. I mean, most of you don't care about that, but just to be very clear with everybody, a lot of you guys are running a thumb that's about this wide, maybe 2 inches wider. The only thing that they didn't do that I would have rather them done a little bit better was the thumb. They went for the extra plating and not the width. But 16-inch bucket, and even for a guy like myself, like I said before, a little bit thicker, I can get on and off this console easy. The mounting brackets are excessively thick. We wanted to make sure that no one was tearing their booms off and tearing the front plates off. So all that's molded, and I mean, it is thick. You're not, I don't know how you're gonna break that on a 3,200 pound unit. If you do, you're doing something either incredibly right or incredibly wrong. Again, flip up console. Now you're still going to be mechanical on the front part. So anytime you see these sticks going straight down to the valve body without the spool valves and stuff, or the servos and stuff, you have a direct mechanical connection. So what that means is if this machine is live and you have it on and you're jumping on and off, you don't want to hop up there and push these front. And the other thing you should do is if you're going to do that, you should always turn your unit off. But just keeping that in mind, if you got hired guys, small children, all that, you do want to make sure either the machine is off or you're the only person getting on and off, and you keep that in mind. Other than that, the pedals actually lock out, so the pedals aren't an issue. You flip them up, pedals are locked out, they're a footrest. Battery disconnect right here between your legs instead of at your heel. That way you shouldn't kick it, you shouldn't mess with it. And what I was saying about the joysticks, so if you look at these joysticks, you got your buttons here. So you got your auxiliary for expandable track and side swing, both on buttons on the joysticks. And then obviously your fuel and your hydraulic fluid are straight across. You got an LCD display. And then this one's also not incredibly high, so it's 87 inches. So if you got an 8-foot garage door, this is actually one of the ones that will fit through an 8-foot garage door. Not quite a rough opening on an 84.5-inch rough opening for a doorway, but if you ever really had to, just to move it, not to operate it, these are just bolted on and they will pick straight off. I mean, we put them on, obviously they got to come off, and they mount to the strut inside, so it won't be a terrible ordeal to take that off to get inside of a low clearance. We're going to do the test drive here, show you guys a test drive. I mean, the other thing with these, how you can always tell if you have a 2-speed unit. I see this a lot in the Chinese excavator forums. They have the buttons. So if you have a Bobcat, if you have a Kubota or whatever brand, a lot of the wiring harnesses are all the same. So if you take down your headliner, odds are there's 50 plugs in there that aren't being used unless you got a fully loaded unit. And as far as 2-speed, some of the units will have, now these are going to be 2-speed, but if this drive takes oil and it's enclosed and centered, that means it's 2-speed. If this drive was a spindle with a lock nut or an axle nut and the drive motor was on the back side, that would be a single speed. So anytime your drive motor is centered in here, it should be a 2-speed unit. I've never come across any that haven't. I might be wrong on that, but I've been doing this for 20 years, and in the Groundhog side of it for almost 5 now. So, you know, I haven't seen one that wasn't like that. If you have gear oil, and if you have a single speed, you don't have gear oil in there. So your hydraulic fluid is what's going through there. The gear oil is not in there. So you don't got to worry about gear oil if you have a single speed unit. If you have a 2-speed unit, you do want to make sure your gear oil is at least checked every now and again. It shouldn't use gear oil, but you know, you never know through evaporation, through stuff happening, what's going to, you know, transpire. So that's something you should keep an eye on at least every couple hundred hours. Nothing that's going to go out every 50, but, you know, occasionally in just the course of good maintenance, checking it. We're going to do the quick video here of showing them running around, and then we'll get back to you guys. We're going to do a couple videos and catch you guys up. Appreciate you watching. All right, I made sure I wanted to start off the unit. That way you guys can see me physically get on and off the unit. So you can gauge yourself if this unit will fit you. So again, like I said, on and off is not bad. You can slide right in. I can pull my foot pedals down now. And then I can operate my blade and my auxiliaries. Obviously that's a 3,200-pound unit. And I just wanted to show you that even at that lower horsepower, because of the pump that we're using, that it'll drag 3,200 pounds easily without even grunting. So you're not going to hear this engine die down as much, because again, that pump is going to do all that work for you. And then 2-speed is actually pretty quick in these. And then if I go to turn, it'll actually keep enough pressure that it'll turn, even in the stones. And then as far as smoothness, again, that variable piston pump, the only thing I will say isn't smooth, because they haven't quite mastered the pulsating hydraulics, is your side swing. That's the only thing, you know, you gotta commit to it. That's the only thing that, like I said, that it's gonna be a little bit quick. Now there's a way to cheat that if you really wanted to. You could put variable orifices in your side swing line, and you can set it for whatever speed you wanted to go. I think they run probably 50 bucks for one on McMaster. A lot of you aren't going to care, because when you come up, you know, you're just dumping your material to the side, you're letting it go, and you're coming back in, and you're using your rotate for those last few inches. So other than the side swing, you know, rotation, incredibly smooth. You can go nice and easy, as smooth as you want to, and as fast as you want to. You blow off a track, you pick it up, and then, you know, rotate your track back on. And like I said, now when this is up, your micro switch that activates in there locks out your hydraulics. It's ran by a pilot valve, so it's ran off of a different assembly, but this will still be live. It's not dramatic. Those of you that are going to be on there saying, oh my God, how dangerous. It's not running you all over, or shut your machine off. I mean, really the operator's the one that controls the machine. So if you're feeling that you're not comfortable with that, turn your machine off. It won't do anything, I guarantee it. Once that machine's off, it's off. So there you go. There's your BH20 D-2. Like I said before, I think it's probably one of the nicest layouts, and it's done by a company. You guys hear me give you guys the company information all the time. I don't hide anything. You know, we're here for your convenience, and we appreciate your business. You know, I have I have 5 children. Everybody that works for us has children, I think. I mean, we really appreciate the business. We appreciate you guys giving us a chance to feed our families, and we hope to keep growing with everybody. We're really hoping to add dealers in every state the next 2 years here. I think we're up to 25 or 30, and we're hoping to continue to grow that. So we're hoping to make sure our service is accessible. We just built a parts room, and there's about $250,000 or $500,000 of parts in that parts room. So as we continue to grow, we're trying to make sure our inventory in Pennsylvania is here, and our dealers as well. Even some of our dealers are carrying, not crazy inventories, but they're carrying parts on hand that if you need a pump or if you need something, they might have it. If they don't, they get a hold of us. If we don't, we do express ship almost everything. There's very few things that we don't express ship. Glass is probably the most common one I won't express ship, only because we've had guys that have, broken a cab door glass, and we've tried express shipping and then it got broke again. So, other than glass, which we'll get them on a container, we'll box them up, we'll make sure you get them, but there's very few things we won't express ship anymore. And, other than a few items, we're going to be able to get your parts in about the same timeline as anybody else. I think the average right now is about 7 days if we don't have it. Every now and again, there is a circumstance that doesn't happen. We apologize for that. We're kind of at the mercy sometimes of the plant. The same as any other plant, the same as any other industry. When COVID happened, the reason that nobody had parts wasn't because they're made in America. It's because half of the parts come from other outsourced locations. So, it's not going to be no different than any other circumstance you run into there. So there's your BH20 D-2. We really appreciate you guys watching our videos. We're going to catch you guys up, try to stay more relevant again, and we appreciate you guys subscribing. We'll talk to you later. If you guys are interested, give us a call at 570-837-1003. Our other landline is 570-837-1016. We'll catch you guys later.